What if everything you thought you knew about peace was wrong? Imagine this. You're standing on the edge of a vast, endless ocean, the weight of your past, your regrets, your fears, pushing down on your chest. Every step forward feels like you're wading through thick mud, struggling to breathe as the waves of anxiety crash against your soul. You've tried everything, countless methods to quiet your mind, endless hours spent chasing after happiness and serenity. Yet, all you find is a relentless storm inside. You feel exhausted, defeated, like you've been chasing an illusion that never seems to come closer. But what if I told you there was a secret that could change everything? A truth so simple, so powerful, that it could free you from the shackles of your own mind. In the stillness of a forgotten temple, hidden deep in the mountains of Kyoto, a monk once whispered words that shook the very foundation of reality. Peace does not come from fixing everything. It comes from letting go of the need to fix it at all. Could that be the key? What if the way out of this storm wasn't fighting against it, but simply accepting its existence and watching it pass like a cloud in the sky? This isn't just a story about Zen or Buddhism. It's a story about you. The endless mental chatter, the sleepless nights, the constant pressure to do more, be more. It's all leading you to a breaking point. But there's something you've overlooked, something you've never been taught, and that secret might just be the most shocking thing you hear today. Can you stop fighting the storm and let it wash over you? Can you find peace not in control, but in surrender? Stick around, because what comes next will challenge everything you thought you knew about peace, about suffering, and most importantly, about yourself. You'll discover a path, a journey that could lead you to the deepest tranquility you've ever known. But first, you have to be willing to listen. If this story is calling to you, if you're ready to find the stillness that's been hiding just beneath the noise, hit that subscribe button on Buddhism in every moment. Supporting our channel helps us continue creating videos like this one, bringing you deeper wisdom and peace, one story at a time. Don't miss out on what's coming next. Your journey to a quieter mind starts right here. Part 1. The Call for Stillness, Embracing the Quiet. In today's fast-paced, ever-connected world, silence has become a luxury. We live in a time when the relentless buzz of technology, the constant flood of information, and the ceaseless demands of work and life leave little room for peace. The digital screens, the endless to-do lists, and the pressure to be constantly productive, the noise never stops, and neither does the mind. It's as though the world around us is in perpetual motion, pulling us along in its current, never allowing us to catch our breath. In this chaos, we lose ourselves. The stillness that once nourished our souls feels like a distant memory, something we've forgotten how to access. But what if the answer isn't to add more tasks, more noise, or more distractions to fill the empty spaces? What if the key to reclaiming our balance, our peace, lies in the simplest act of all, silence? In the stillness, we don't need to be doing anything. There is no performance, no goal, no deadline. Silence is not an absence, it is a presence. It is a powerful force that brings clarity, balance, and healing to a mind that has been pulled in 1,000 different directions. Imagine, for a moment, stepping away from the noise. Picture yourself in a quiet place, perhaps under the open sky in a small coastal village in California, or in a secluded corner of New York City, where the only sound you hear is the whisper of the wind or the soft rustling of leaves. In this moment, the world slows down, and the burden of your thoughts begins to lighten. The mind that has been racing for so long starts to settle. Here, in this space of quiet, you can finally hear your own heart again. And in that stillness, you begin to rediscover who you really are beneath the noise and the chaos. We are all, at some level, searching for a place to rest our hearts, a space where we can lay down our worries, our anxieties, and the weight of the world that we carry. This place doesn't need to be found outside of us. It's within us, waiting for us to stop and listen. The mind, in its constant chatter, prevents us from seeing the beauty that is always around us. The world is filled with quiet moments, moments that pass unnoticed because we are too busy running towards something else, always chasing the next goal or achievement. But the most important thing we can do for ourselves is to stop, to breathe, to be present in the moment. It's in these moments of stillness that we find the clarity to understand what's really important. We realize that we don't have to keep running. We don't have to keep filling our lives with noise and distractions. There is a power in silence, in simply being. And when we embrace that silence, we begin to see the world in a new light. The constant pressure to do more, be more, and have more fades away, leaving us with a deep sense of peace. But even with all the wisdom of stillness, we often struggle to slow down. The noise within us is relentless. The thoughts, the worries, the endless planning, they don't just go away because we want them to. They follow us like shadows, always present, always pushing us forward. This is the challenge we face. How do we overcome the noise? How do we quiet the constant stream of thoughts and find that place of peace within ourselves? The answer, surprisingly, is not to force the silence. It's not about pushing the thoughts away or trying to control them. It's about accepting them and letting them pass. Like clouds drifting across the sky, thoughts come and go. They don't need to define us. We don't need to follow them. In fact, the more we try to hold on to them or fight them, the more they seem to control us. But when we simply observe them without judgment, they lose their power. We start to realize that we are not our thoughts. We are the space in which they arise and fade. And that space, still, vast, and unchanging, is where true peace resides. It's a paradox, really. The more we let go of the need to control, the more we discover that we already have everything we need. The peace we are seeking is not some distant destination. It's right here, right now, in the quiet of our hearts. It's in the act of simply being present with whatever arises, whether it's a thought, an emotion, or a feeling. The more we embrace this stillness, the more we realize that we are not broken, not incomplete, but whole. We have always been whole. If you felt the weight of the world pressing on your shoulders, if your mind has been spinning with endless thoughts, know this: you are not alone. This journey of stillness is one that we all must take. It's a return to ourselves, a return to the peace that is always within us. And it begins with a simple choice: to stop, to breathe, and to be present in the moment. Part 2. The Path to Quietude: Understanding the Nature of Thoughts. In the heart of San Francisco, where the Golden Gate looms over the misty waters and the streets hum with endless activity, there is a quiet corner, tucked away from the rush of the city. It's easy to forget the power of silence when every day seems like a whirlwind of noise and movement. Yet, for those who seek peace, this small sanctuary, this hidden gem in the urban jungle, becomes the first step in the journey toward inner calm. It's a journey not to a distant place, but into the very essence of ourselves. This journey is not about escaping the noise of the world, but understanding how to find quiet within it. We all start this journey in much the same way. We seek stillness, but we are often unaware of the storm that rages inside us. We think that peace is something we need to find outside of us, in the quiet corners of nature, or in a distant place where the hustle and bustle can't reach us. We believe that the world must be quieter for us to feel at peace. But the truth is much more profound. Peace is not something external. It is an awareness that resides within. This journey begins when we start to notice the nature of our thoughts. At first, we may think our thoughts define us, that the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we've experienced are the essence of who we are. We are constantly chasing after our thoughts, chasing after answers, seeking validation, seeking a sense of control over the chaos we feel. But the more we chase them, the more they elude us. Our minds are like wild horses running in every direction, and we are desperately trying to catch them, thinking that once we can, we will find peace. But what if peace isn't about controlling the mind or fixing it? What if it's about learning to live with it, to understand it, and to release the need to control it? This is where our journey to quietude begins, by recognizing that our thoughts are not who we are. They are like clouds drifting through the sky, ever changing, ever moving, yet never permanent. Just as clouds pass without our effort, so too can our thoughts pass when we learn to observe them without judgment or attachment. We are so often swept away by the tide of our thoughts that we forget we have the power to simply watch them. Instead of getting caught in the current of our mental patterns, we can choose to stand still, to observe, and to let them pass. This is the secret of letting go. It's not about pushing the thoughts away or forcing them into submission. It's about accepting their presence without letting them consume us. Thoughts, like clouds, come and go. We don't need to chase after them, we don't need to hold on to them, and we certainly don't need to define ourselves by them. Imagine, for a moment, standing on the edge of the bay, watching the fog roll in over the water. You can't control the fog. You can't stop it from coming, and you certainly can't stop it from going. All you can do is stand there in the stillness and allow it to pass. And as it does, the sun comes through, warming the air, bringing clarity and light to the space that was once shrouded in mist. This is how it is with our thoughts. They may seem overwhelming at first, but when we allow them to come and go without trying to force them, they lose their power. The practice of letting go is a delicate one, and it requires patience. It's not about getting rid of our thoughts or eliminating them altogether. It's about learning to see them for what they truly are, temporary, fleeting, and not the essence of who we are. This shift in perspective changes everything. We begin to understand that our thoughts are just one small part of the vastness of our minds. They do not define us. And with this understanding, we find freedom. We find the ability to rest in the present moment, to accept things as they are without needing to change them, and to simply be. This is where the real transformation happens, in the space between thoughts. When we learn to let go of the need to control our thoughts, we begin to experience what it means to be truly present. The mind becomes less of a burden and more of a tool, a companion on our journey, rather than something we must fight against. We begin to see that peace is not something to be obtained, but something that has always been within us, waiting patiently for us to acknowledge it. Finding balance in our thoughts doesn't mean eliminating them or silencing them completely. It means understanding their nature and learning to work with them, rather than being controlled by them. It's about choosing to be present with what is, instead of constantly seeking what could be. It's about accepting the impermanence of our thoughts and recognizing that they are just passing clouds in the vast expanse of our minds. When we can do this, when we can accept our thoughts without judgment, without attachment, we begin to experience a sense of freedom. We no longer feel as though we are at the mercy of our minds, but instead, we are the ones who choose how to respond. We are no longer swept away by the current of overthinking, but instead we learn to stand firm, grounded in the present moment. And in that stillness we find peace. This journey of quietude is not a destination. It is a practice, a continual return to the present moment. It is a process of learning to let go, to stop chasing our thoughts, and to accept the ebb and flow of the mind. And as we do, we come closer to the true nature of peace, one that is not found in external circumstances but within ourselves. This is the path to quietude, a journey that begins with understanding the nature of our thoughts and learning to embrace them without being defined by them. Part 3. The power of breath, a tool to silence the mind. In the chaos of our daily lives, there is one constant that remains, our breath. It's the one thing that is always with us, that connects us to the present moment, and yet we often overlook its power. The breath is not just a biological function, it is a gateway to inner peace. It has the ability to soothe, calm, and silence the mind, even in the most turbulent of times. Imagine for a moment that you are standing in the middle of a bustling city street. The noise is overwhelming, cars honking, people rushing by, the hum of technology everywhere you look. Yet, amid all this chaos, you take a deep breath. Inhale, exhale. With each breath, the noise becomes distant, the urgency of the world begins to fade, and suddenly you feel a wave of calm washing over you. It's as if the breath itself holds the power to create a stillness within, to remind you that you are not bound by the noise of the world around you. The breath is always there, always available to us, but we rarely notice its power until we consciously choose to focus on it. In that simple act of turning our attention inward, of becoming aware of the rise and fall of our chest, we tap into a deep well of peace that has been there all along, waiting for us to connect with it. The breath is a tool that can quiet the mind, soothe the nervous system, and bring us back to the present moment. Let's take a moment to experience this for ourselves. Wherever you are, take a deep breath in, and as you do, allow yourself to fully feel the air entering your body. Notice how it fills your lungs, expanding your chest. Now, slowly exhale, letting go of any tension or stress you may be holding. Do this several times, each time becoming more aware of the sensation of the breath moving in and out of your body. With each breath, feel yourself sinking deeper into a state of calm, as if the breath is carrying you to a place of stillness within. This simple act of breathing is not just about the physical process, it is a direct pathway to the mind. The breath and the mind are intimately connected. When our breath is shallow, rapid, or irregular, our minds tend to mirror this state of agitation. Our thoughts race, our anxiety builds, and we feel overwhelmed by the demands of the world. But when we slow our breath, when we take deep, intentional inhales and exhales, the mind begins to calm. The breath serves as an anchor, bringing us back to the present moment and reminding us that we are not our thoughts, we are not our worries. The connection between breath and mind is profound. Studies have shown that conscious breathing can lower stress levels, reduce anxiety, and promote a sense of well-being. It is a tool we carry with us at all times, yet it is one we often forget to use. The breath is always there, waiting to guide us back to the present moment, to bring us back to a state of balance and calm. It's a tool that can transform the way we experience life, one breath at a time. Let's explore this power further by practicing mindful breathing. Find a comfortable place to sit or lie down and close your eyes. Begin by taking a deep breath in through your nose, allowing the air to fill your lungs completely. Hold the breath for a moment, and then slowly exhale through your mouth, releasing any tension in your body. As you continue to breathe, bring your awareness to the sensation of the breath entering and leaving your body. Notice how the air feels as it enters your nose, travels down your throat, and fills your lungs. Feel the rise and fall of your chest with each inhale and exhale. As you breathe, allow your mind to focus solely on the breath. If thoughts arise, acknowledge them, but gently bring your attention back to your breath. Don't try to force the thoughts away or judge them. Simply observe them as they come and go, like clouds drifting across the sky. With each breath, feel yourself becoming more present, more grounded, more at peace. This practice of mindful breathing is a powerful tool for calming the mind. It allows us to step out of the cycle of overthinking and anxiety and into the present moment. As we focus on the breath, we begin to release the grip of our thoughts and our worries. We create space within ourselves, space to simply be, without the need to control, without the need to strive. But there is a deeper lesson in the breath, a lesson about releasing control. We live in a world that constantly tells us to strive, to push, to achieve. We are taught to control our surroundings, our circumstances, and even our own thoughts. But true peace does not come from control. It comes from surrender. The act of breathing is a reminder that we don't have to control everything. We don't have to force our thoughts into submission or try to control the world around us. When we breathe deeply and consciously, we are letting go of the need to control. We are allowing ourselves to be present with what is, without trying to change it. We are letting go of the need to fix everything, to solve every problem, and to plan every step of our journey. Instead, we are embracing the present moment, allowing it to unfold naturally, without resistance. Releasing control in this way can be incredibly freeing. It allows us to step back from the constant push and pull of life, to find stillness in the midst of the chaos. It's not about giving up or being passive. It's about accepting that there are things beyond our control and choosing to find peace in the surrender. The breath teaches us that we don't have to fight our thoughts or emotions. We don't have to force them to go away. We simply have to let them be to observe them without attachment. As we breathe, we release our need to control and allow life to unfold naturally. In doing so, we open ourselves up to a deeper sense of peace and freedom. Freedom from the grip of our thoughts, freedom from the need to constantly control and fix everything. So, as you continue to breathe, remember this: the breath is not just a physical act, it is a tool for transformation. It is a gateway to peace, a way to calm the mind and soothe the soul. By focusing on the breath, we can learn to release control, to let go of the noise and the chaos, and to find stillness within ourselves. And in that stillness, we discover the peace that has always been there, waiting for us to embrace it. Part 4. The Dance of Impermanence, Letting Go of the Past and Future. Time, in its infinite, unrelenting march, flows like a river, sweeping everything in its path. We are constantly caught in its current. Sometimes it rushes with the fury of a storm. Sometimes it flows gently, lapping against our shores in a soft embrace. But no matter how the river moves, it never stops. It doesn't pause to wait for us to catch up. The river keeps moving, ever changing and ever shifting, as time does in our lives. The world we live in is one of constant change, where nothing stays the same for long. Just like the river that runs through Paris, its waters never remain the same. Each drop of water that flows through the Seine is replaced by another, only to be carried away as the seasons shift, the landscape changes, and life continues its cycle. Time, like the river, offers us a lesson. It tells us that nothing in life is permanent. Every moment, every emotion, every situation is transient. It's a truth that we often resist. We want things to stay the same, to hold on to what we've known, to preserve the past, and to control the future. We don't want things to change because change feels like loss and loss feels like suffering. Yet, in resisting the natural flow of time, we only create our own pain. What if, instead of resisting, we chose to flow with it? What if, instead of clinging to the past or obsessing over the future, we allowed ourselves to be carried forward with the current of life? What if we embraced the dance of impermanence, recognizing that each moment, though fleeting, holds its own beauty? The flow of time offers us the opportunity to let go. The past, though it shaped us, no longer exists except in our memories. Those memories, no matter how vivid, are only shadows of what was. The present moment is all that remains, all that we truly have. Yet we often carry the weight of the past with us, clinging to it, holding it in our hearts like stones in a sack. We replay old conversations, revisit old mistakes, and relive old regrets. We hold on to the past as though it's something we can fix, something we can change, but the past is gone. The more we try to grasp it, the more we slip through our fingers. It's in this struggle to hold on that we experience the most suffering. The past can't be changed. The pain of lost opportunities, the regret of words spoken in anger or actions left undone, it's all part of the past. But in holding on to it, we trap ourselves in a cycle of pain. We can't move forward when we are constantly looking backward. Letting go of the past is not about forgetting. It's about freeing ourselves from its hold. It's about learning to forgive ourselves and others, not for their sake, but for our own peace of mind. We are often our harshest critics, burdening ourselves with guilt and shame for things that cannot be undone. We think that by holding on to these emotions, we are somehow protecting ourselves from further harm, but in reality, we are only carrying unnecessary weight. Forgiveness is the key to releasing the past. It is the key to understanding that we are not defined by our mistakes. Our mistakes are part of our journey, but they do not have to shape our future. Forgiveness is not about excusing the actions of others, but about releasing the hold those actions have on us. When we forgive, we let go of the burden we've been carrying and allow ourselves to move forward. It's a difficult process, but it is a necessary one. Only by forgiving can we truly release the past and embrace the present. And yet, in letting go of the past, we often find ourselves looking toward the future. The future is just as uncertain, just as impermanent as the past, and yet we spend so much of our time trying to control it. We plan, we worry, we fear what may or may not happen, and we create scenarios in our minds that may never come to pass. We do everything we can to secure our futures, to make them certain, to ensure that we are safe from harm. But the future is never as certain as we think. No matter how much we try to control it, we can never predict what will happen next. The uncertainty of the future brings with it a sense of fear. It's the fear of the unknown, the fear of not being in control. We want to know what will happen, we want to have a plan, but life has a way of throwing unexpected twists and turns our way. The more we try to control the future, the more we find ourselves anxious, uncertain, and restless. But what if, instead of fearing the future, we chose to embrace it as it comes? What if we let go of the need to control every outcome and instead allowed ourselves to flow with the current of life? The future, like the river, is always moving, always changing. The more we try to hold on to it, the more it slips through our fingers. The secret to peace is not in trying to control the future, but in accepting the uncertainty of it. This is where the practice of impermanence comes in. Impermanence teaches us that everything changes. Nothing lasts forever. The people we love, the situations we find ourselves in, the emotions we experience, all of these things will eventually change. The question is not whether change will come, but how we will respond to it. To practice impermanence is to accept that life is constantly in flux. It is to understand that every moment, no matter how difficult or painful, is temporary. The emotions we feel, the challenges we face, the joy we experience, they are all part of a larger dance, a cycle of constant change. When we accept that nothing is permanent, we are free to embrace life as it is without resistance. Practicing impermanence is about letting go of the need to hold on to anything, whether it's the past, the future, or even our current circumstances. It is about accepting the ebb and flow of life, knowing that just as the river moves forward, so too will we. Each moment is an opportunity to let go of what no longer serves us, to release the past and step into the unknown future with open arms. When we stop resisting change and start accepting it, we free ourselves from the burden of control. We can live in the present moment, fully aware that it will pass, and yet, in its passing, we find beauty. The beauty of impermanence is that it reminds us to appreciate the present moment, to savor what we have while we have it, knowing that it is fleeting, just like the river that flows through Paris. The dance of impermanence is a reminder that life is constantly moving, constantly evolving. It is a reminder that change is not something to fear, but something to embrace. In letting go of the past, accepting the uncertainty of the future, and practicing impermanence, we find freedom. We find peace in the flow of time, in the acceptance of change, and in the knowledge that we are not bound by what was or what will be. We are free to live fully in the present moment, knowing that everything is temporary and that, in the end, all things pass. Part 5. Cultivating gratitude, transforming your mindset. Gratitude. It's a simple word often spoken in passing, but its power is immeasurable. It's easy to take things for granted, our daily routines, the people we love, the comforts of our lives. But what if we stopped for a moment to truly acknowledge all that we have? What if, instead of focusing on what we lack, we shifted our attention to what we have? In doing so, we would open ourselves to a whole new way of seeing the world. Gratitude is not just a practice, it's a way of life. It's a shift in perspective, a recalibration of the mind. When we cultivate gratitude, we begin to see the world not as a place full of scarcity and challenges, but as a place of abundance and opportunity. It's in the small things, the warmth of the sun on your face, the sound of laughter from a friend, the comfort of a cozy home, that gratitude lives. It's not just the grand moments or the big accomplishments that deserve our thanks. It's the everyday blessings, the quiet moments, that often carry the most power. Take a moment right now to think about the simple things in your life. Perhaps it's a hot cup of coffee in the morning, the smell of fresh rain on the pavement, or the sound of birds singing outside your window. These things may seem insignificant, but they hold immense value when we stop to appreciate them. Gratitude shifts our focus from what's wrong to what's right, from what's missing to what's already present. And in that shift, everything changes. Imagine waking up each day with a heart full of thanks, grateful for the opportunity to live, to love, to experience. This doesn't mean that life is always easy or that everything is perfect. But it means that even in the face of difficulties, we can find something to be thankful for. When we choose gratitude, we transform our mindset. We stop seeing ourselves as victims of circumstance and start seeing ourselves as creators of our reality. We see that we are surrounded by abundance, even in the most unlikely places. Daily gratitude practices are simple, yet incredibly transformative. Every morning, before you even get out of bed, take a moment to reflect on the things you are grateful for. It can be something small, like the comfort of your bed, or something grand, like the love of your family. Spend just a few moments each day focusing on the blessings in your life. You can write them down in a journal, say them out loud, or simply meditate on them in silence. The important thing is to start your day with gratitude in your heart, setting the tone for everything that comes after. The benefits of this practice are profound. Studies have shown that practicing gratitude regularly can improve mood, increase feelings of well-being, and even boost physical health. Gratitude has the power to change the way we perceive the world. Instead of seeing life through the lens of what's lacking or what's wrong, we begin to see the richness of what's already here. We start to notice the beauty in the small moments, the love in the everyday, and the magic in the mundane. But the true healing power of gratitude goes beyond just improving our mood or our mindset. Gratitude has the ability to heal the wounds of the soul. Life is not without its pain. We all face loss, disappointment, and hardship. And in those moments, it can be hard to find anything to be thankful for. But this is where the real power of gratitude lies. When we are in the depths of sorrow or struggle, gratitude can be the light that pulls us out of the darkness. It's not about pretending that pain doesn't exist. It's not about ignoring our feelings or pretending that everything is fine when it isn't. Rather, it's about finding something, anything, that we can be grateful for, even in the most difficult of times. When we are able to find gratitude in the midst of pain, we begin to heal. Gratitude doesn't erase the pain, but it shifts our focus. It helps us see that even in our darkest moments, there is still light, there is still love, there is still hope. Gratitude can help us rebuild our sense of inner peace. It teaches us that no matter what we are facing, there is always something worth appreciating. When we focus on the good, the bad seems a little less overwhelming. When we acknowledge our blessings, the burdens become lighter. Gratitude is a balm for the soul, soothing the wounds of disappointment and heartache. It reminds us that, though life may be difficult at times, we are not alone. We are supported by the love and kindness that exists in the world, by the beauty that surrounds us, and by the strength within us. In challenging times, maintaining a sense of gratitude may seem nearly impossible, but it is precisely in these times that gratitude is most needed. It's easy to be thankful when things are going well, when life is smooth and easy. But true growth comes when we learn to be thankful in the face of adversity. When life feels uncertain, when everything seems to be falling apart, that's when we need to dig deep and find something to be grateful for. It may be small at first, but even the smallest seed of gratitude can begin to shift our entire perspective. Think about a time in your life when things seem to be falling apart. Maybe you lost a job, experienced a breakup, or faced a health crisis. In those moments, it may have felt impossible to see anything positive. But looking back, what can you now be grateful for? Perhaps it was the support of a friend, the lessons you learned through the struggle, or the strength you discovered within yourself. Gratitude doesn't mean denying our pain or pretending everything is perfect. It means finding something to hold on to, something that can give us hope in the darkest of times. When we practice gratitude, we begin to see that even in the most difficult moments, there is something valuable to be learned. Gratitude shifts our focus from the negative to the positive, from what's wrong to what's right. It helps us to find meaning in the struggles we face, to see that every experience, even the painful ones, can teach us something important. It reminds us that we are resilient, that we are capable of overcoming challenges, and that we have the power to create our own happiness. So, the next time you're feeling overwhelmed by life's challenges, try to take a step back and ask yourself, what am I grateful for in this moment? It may not be easy, but in that simple question lies the key to transforming your mindset. Gratitude is a powerful tool for shifting your perspective, for healing your soul, and for finding peace, no matter what life throws your way. Embrace the power of gratitude and watch how it transforms your life. Part 6. The Art of Patience: Finding Peace in the Waiting. In the soft, serene air of a secluded garden in Kyoto, Japan, there is a person sitting quietly, a single figure immersed in the peaceful embrace of nature. The garden, untouched by the rush of the world outside, is a place where time seems to stand still. The trees sway gently in the breeze, their leaves rustling softly, as if they are whispering secrets of the ages. The flowers bloom at their own pace, each petal unfolding slowly without haste. There is no sense of urgency, no desire to move faster, no need to rush. In this tranquil space, the person sits, simply waiting, fully present in the moment, aware of the passing time but not impatient with it. The breeze comes and goes, and the person remains still, grounded, at peace. This is the gift of patience. It is a quiet waiting, a peaceful acceptance of the rhythm of life. In our fast-paced world, we have forgotten what it means to simply wait. Everything is rushed. Every moment is filled with an expectation to move forward, to accomplish, to do. The world pushes us to be constantly busy, constantly achieving, constantly striving for the next thing. But in this garden, in this moment, there is a lesson to be learned. A lesson about the beauty of stillness, the wisdom of patience, and the peace that comes from simply being. Patience is often misunderstood. We think of it as passive, as something we endure until something else happens, as if we are merely waiting for life to begin. But patience is not about waiting for the future. It is about fully experiencing the present, embracing the moment, and finding peace in the process. It is about accepting that life does not always unfold according to our timeline. It does not always move as quickly as we would like. But in this, there is no need for frustration. There is no need to fight against time. Instead, we can learn to flow with it, to move with its natural rhythm, and to find peace in the waiting. In the modern world, restlessness has become a constant companion. We are always in a hurry. The pace of life has accelerated to a point where we rarely take a moment to pause. Our days are filled with tasks, deadlines, and demands, and we find ourselves rushing from one thing to the next, always looking ahead to the next step, the next goal, the next achievement. We are so consumed by the idea of what's next that we forget to live in what's now. The waiting, the stillness, feels uncomfortable, foreign even. We feel the need to fill every moment with action, with movement, with noise. But in this rush, we miss the magic of the present moment. We forget that there is beauty in the pause, in the waiting. True peace is not found in the rush to get somewhere, but in the acceptance of where we are right now. To overcome restlessness is to learn the art of slowing down. It's about letting go of the need to always be moving, always be doing, and learning to be at peace with stillness. It's about realizing that life is not a race. It's a journey, one that unfolds at its own pace. The key is not to fight against time, but to learn to flow with it. Mindful waiting is the practice of being present in those moments of pause, of in-between. It's about learning to fully embrace the moments when we have nothing to do, when we are waiting for something to happen, and choosing to be at peace in those moments. These moments are not empty or wasted. They are opportunities to reconnect with ourselves, to ground ourselves in the present. Consider the small, everyday moments of waiting. Waiting for the bus, waiting in line at the store, waiting for a meeting to start. These are moments that many of us wish would pass quickly, but what if we could make them meaningful? What if we could use these moments to practice mindfulness, to breathe, to center ourselves? Next time you find yourself waiting, take a moment to simply breathe. Instead of reaching for your phone, instead of filling the silence with thoughts about what you have to do next, just pause. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel the air fill your lungs. Notice the sensations in your body, the sounds around you, the world as it is in that moment. With each breath, let go of the urgency. Let go of the need to control. In those few minutes of waiting, you can find peace. You can reconnect with the present moment without needing it to be anything other than what it is. This practice is not just for moments of waiting. It can be applied to every aspect of life. The more we practice mindful waiting, the more we learn to live in the moment, to accept things as they come, and to find peace in the process. Life is full of pauses, small moments that we often overlook, but when we learn to embrace them, they become powerful moments of connection and peace. Patience, in the deepest sense, is a teacher. It teaches us that life does not have to be rushed to be meaningful. It shows us that there is wisdom in the pause, in the waiting. It helps us understand that we don't need to force things to happen. We don't need to rush toward the future or try to control the outcome. Instead, we can trust the process. We can trust that things will unfold in their own time, in their own way. Through patience, we learn to trust ourselves, to trust the journey, and to trust that, even when things feel uncertain or difficult, we are exactly where we need to be. We learn that we are not defined by what we achieve or how quickly we get there. We are defined by how we experience the journey, by how we show up for each moment, and by how we embrace the pauses along the way. Patience is not just about waiting, it's about how we wait. It's about how we approach the moments of stillness in our lives. Do we fill them with anxiety and frustration, or do we embrace them with peace and acceptance? Do we fight against time, or do we flow with it? The art of patience teaches us to find peace in the waiting. It teaches us that there is value in every moment, even the moments when we are not moving forward. Patience is a practice, one that requires us to slow down, to let go of control, and to trust in the natural unfolding of life. And in that practice, we find the true essence of peace. It is not found in the doing, but in the being. It is found in the quiet moments, the spaces between the rush, the moments when we stop and simply breathe. In those moments we find everything we need. Part 7. Overcoming fear, confronting the unknown. Fear. It's a force that affects each of us, woven into the fabric of our lives in ways we often don't recognize. At first glance, fear may seem like a natural part of being human, a biological response to danger. But fear, at its core, is something far more complex. It is not just a reaction to external threats. It is often rooted in our internal uncertainties, in our lack of understanding, in our fear of the unknown. It thrives in the dark corners of our minds, festering in the gaps between what we know and what we do not. Think about a time in your life when fear took hold of you. Perhaps it was the fear of failure, of rejection, or of losing control. Maybe it was the fear of not being enough, of being seen as weak or inadequate. This fear, whatever form it takes, is not just a single moment of anxiety. It is often a pattern, a series of thoughts and emotions that we hold on to, that we carry with us in our hearts. Fear, in this sense, is born from uncertainty. It thrives on the unknown, on what we cannot control, on what we cannot predict. This is where fear becomes a powerful force. It doesn't just live in the present. It reaches back into the past and stretches forward into the future, shaping our perceptions and actions. The fear of what has already happened can trap us in regret and sadness, while the fear of what could happen can paralyze us with anxiety and worry. But here's the key. Much of this fear is based on illusions. We are afraid of things that may never happen, of situations we cannot predict, of outcomes we cannot control. The mind creates stories, scenarios that seem real, but in truth, they are projections of our own insecurities and doubts. The first step in overcoming fear is understanding its nature. Fear is not something that we can simply will away or suppress. It's a natural response, a part of our survival instinct. But in our modern world, we have built a reality in which fear no longer serves us. It doesn't protect us from lions or dangers in the wild. Instead, it often keeps us from living fully, from embracing new opportunities, from stepping into the unknown. Fear is rooted in our lack of understanding, in our inability to see the bigger picture. It thrives on our need to control and predict, to keep things within a certain boundary, to ensure safety at all costs. But in doing so, it prevents us from experiencing the richness of life, from embracing change, from growing into the person we are meant to be. We all have fears, but how we deal with them makes all the difference. The natural instinct may be to avoid them, to run from them, to hide, or to push them aside. We think that if we ignore our fears, they will disappear. But in reality, avoiding fear only makes it stronger. Fear thrives in the shadows. When we run from it, when we hide from it, it grows, becoming more powerful, more entrenched in our minds. The more we avoid facing our fears, the more we allow them to control us. The true power lies in confronting our fears, in facing them head-on. This is where the real transformation happens. When we face our fears, we begin to see them for what they truly are, nothing more than imagined obstacles, often built on nothing more than doubt and insecurity. Fear loses its power when we stop running from it, when we stop trying to avoid it, and when we start to look at it in the light of day. What happens when we face our fear is not that it disappears, but that we begin to understand it. We begin to see that it is not the monster we imagined, but a shadow that dissipates when we shine the light of awareness on it. This act of confronting fear is not about being fearless. It's about acknowledging the fear, accepting it, and choosing to move forward in spite of it. It's about recognizing that fear is not the enemy, but a part of the human experience. It's about taking the first step, even when the path ahead feels unclear. When we confront our fears, we start to see that they don't control us. They are simply there like any other thought or emotion. They may arise, but they do not define us. The freedom comes when we stop allowing fear to dictate our choices, to limit our potential, to hold us back from what we truly want in life. The freedom in letting go of fear is profound. When we release our hold on fear, we free ourselves from its grasp. We stop allowing it to control our decisions, our thoughts, our actions. Fear can no longer paralyze us. Instead, we become the masters of our own experience, stepping forward into the unknown with confidence and grace. The irony is that when we let go of fear, we don't lose anything. We gain everything. We gain the freedom to be ourselves, to take risks, to explore new horizons, to fully embrace the present moment without the weight of anxiety holding us back. So how do we start? How do we move from a place of fear to a place of freedom? The first step is to acknowledge the fear. Name it. Identify it. Don't run from it. Don't pretend it's not there. Just let it be. Fear often becomes overwhelming because we try to deny it, to push it away, to avoid it at all costs. But when we accept that fear is a natural part of the human experience, it loses much of its power over us. Once we name the fear, we can begin to understand it. We can start to see where it comes from, what triggers it, and why it holds such power over us. Next, we need to take action. It's not enough to understand fear, we must also face it. This can be done in small steps. Start by identifying one fear that you have and then take a small action toward facing it. If you're afraid of speaking in public, start by talking to a small group of friends. If you fear failure, take a small step toward a goal without worrying about the outcome. As we take these steps, we begin to realize that fear does not control us. It is simply a companion on our journey. And as we face our fears, we build confidence, resilience, and strength. Another powerful exercise is to write down your fears. This may sound simple, but putting your fears on paper can be incredibly revealing. Often, when we write down what we're afraid of, we see how irrational or exaggerated those fears are. We can then begin to break them down, challenge them, and reframe them. Writing allows us to confront our fears with clarity and to take away their mystery and power. Lastly, practice the art of acceptance. Understand that fear will always be a part of your life. It's not something to eliminate, but something to embrace. When we stop fighting fear, we stop giving it power. We accept it as a natural part of being human, and in doing so, we stop allowing it to control our lives. This is the path to freedom. In confronting fear, we discover that it is not the monster we once thought it was. It is simply a shadow that disappears when we shine the light of awareness on it. Fear loses its grip when we stop resisting it and start understanding it. In this understanding, we find the freedom to live fully, to step into the unknown, and to embrace life with all its uncertainties. Fear may still arise, but it will no longer hold us back. And in this, we find the greatest freedom of all, the freedom to live without fear. Part 8. The power of now living in the present moment. The present moment, such a simple concept, yet so often overlooked. We live in a world where the future constantly demands our attention, and the past continues to linger in the back of our minds. Our thoughts swirl around us like a whirlwind, often pulling us away from the only true reality we can experience, the here and now. We worry about what's next, lament what has already passed, and in doing so, we miss out on the gift of the present. What if we stopped for a moment, took a deep breath, and truly embraced the present? What if, for just a few minutes, we allowed ourselves to be fully immersed in the moment we are living right now? The present moment is all we have. It is the only time we can truly experience life, yet we spend so much of it looking elsewhere, trapped in thoughts of what was or what might be. The present moment is where peace resides, and yet, so many of us bypass it, missing out on the profound beauty of simply being. Living fully in the present is not just a philosophical ideal, it is a powerful tool for reducing anxiety and stress. When we are present, we are not consumed by worries of the future or regrets of the past. Our minds are not preoccupied with the what-ifs or could-have-beens. Instead, we are rooted in the now, grounded in the moment. In this space, we can find calm, clarity, and a sense of peace that transcends the turmoil of daily life. But how can we learn to live fully in the present? It begins with the practice of mindfulness, the art of being aware and fully engaged in the present moment without judgment. In mindfulness, we train our minds to focus on what is happening right now, to notice the details of our surroundings, our thoughts, and our feelings without getting lost in them. This simple practice can be transformative. It helps us tune into the present moment, to experience life as it is, without the distortions of anxiety or regret. To embrace the now, we must first let go of our obsession with the future. The future is an idea, a projection of our hopes, fears, and expectations. It hasn't happened yet, and we cannot predict it. The anxiety we feel about the future is often based on our attachment to control. We believe that if we worry enough, we can somehow influence the outcome. But the truth is, we can't control the future. We can plan, we can prepare, but ultimately, the future will unfold as it will. The more we try to control what we cannot, the more stress and anxiety we invite into our lives. Letting go of what we can't control is one of the most liberating acts we can undertake. It's a practice of surrender, not to passivity, but to a deeper understanding that some things are simply beyond our grasp. By releasing the need to control every aspect of our lives, we free ourselves from the pressure that comes with it. We stop fighting against the flow of life and begin to go with it. We accept that life is uncertain, and in that uncertainty we find freedom. The need to predict, to manipulate, to control fades away, leaving space for peace. One of the most powerful practices to help us live in the present is mindfulness. Mindfulness is not something we do, but something we become. It's about fully experiencing each moment, whether it's a moment of joy, pain, boredom, or excitement. Mindfulness teaches us to pay attention to the here and now, to notice what's happening in our bodies, our thoughts, and our surroundings. It encourages us to be fully present, without judgment, without distraction, and without attachment. You don't need to be sitting cross-legged in a quiet room to practice mindfulness. You can practice it anywhere, in a crowded city street, during a meeting at work, while washing dishes, or while having a conversation. It's about being aware of what you're doing in the moment, without letting your mind wander. When you're walking, notice the sensation of your feet touching the ground. When you're eating, savor the taste of each bite. When you're talking to someone, listen deeply to their words without thinking about your response. Mindfulness can also be practiced through focused breathing. The breath is always with us, and it is the perfect tool for bringing our attention back to the present moment. By focusing on the sensation of the breath as it enters and leaves the body, we anchor ourselves in the here and now. We create a space where our minds can relax, where we can stop worrying about what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. In these moments, the breath becomes a bridge to peace, a tool to quiet the constant chatter of the mind. Living in the present also means letting go of our attachment to outcomes. So often, we live our lives with a goal in mind, whether it's achieving success, gaining approval, or reaching some external marker of happiness. But when we focus too much on the future or on what we don't have, we miss out on the joy of what's right in front of us. The present moment is where life truly happens, and it's where we can find the deepest fulfillment. When we stop striving for an idealized future and start appreciating what we have now, we experience a profound shift in our mindset. We begin to see life as a journey, not a destination. This shift from a future-focused mindset to a present-centered one can be transformative. When we fully embrace the present, we let go of the burden of worry and the pressure to be somewhere else. We stop measuring our worth based on achievements or milestones, and instead, we find value in simply being. The present moment is enough. It holds all that we need. It's in the present that we can find joy, gratitude, and peace. It's important to remember that living in the present does not mean ignoring the future or dismissing the past. It means that we experience life as it is, without letting our past mistakes or our future anxieties define us. The present moment allows us to learn from the past, to plan for the future, but to do so with the understanding that we can only truly live now. One of the greatest gifts of living in the present is the peace it brings. When we stop worrying about the future and regret the past, we create space for peace to enter our lives. Peace is not something we must chase. It is already here in this moment, waiting for us to notice it. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we open ourselves to the beauty and serenity of the present. Life slows down, and we begin to see things with fresh eyes. The small moments become significant, and the rush of life becomes less overwhelming. We find balance, harmony, and calm in the simple act of being present. To help cultivate this mindset, try focusing on the sensations around you right now. What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you see? Bring your attention fully to these sensory experiences. This practice, simple as it may seem, is a powerful tool for anchoring you in the present moment. The more we live in the present, the more we become attuned to the ebb and flow of life. We stop resisting what is and start flowing with it. This is the essence of mindfulness. It's about accepting the present moment as it is, without judgment, without expectation, and without attachment to outcomes. The power of now is not just in the absence of the past or the future. It is in the acceptance and full experience of what is happening right now. In living in the present, we find that peace is not a distant goal to be reached, but a state of being that is available to us at any moment. The present moment is all we need to feel complete. And when we embrace the present fully, we embrace life fully, without fear, without regret, and with all the beauty and joy that it has to offer. Part 9. The joy of simplicity, reducing mental clutter. In a world that demands more of us than ever before, where productivity is celebrated above all else, the art of living simply seems almost radical. We have become accustomed to the noise of technology, of expectations, of endless information flooding our minds. We live in a constant state of urgency, as though every moment needs to be filled with something. Our lives are cluttered, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But in the pursuit of more, we often lose sight of what truly matters. The simplicity of being is not just about shedding physical possessions or reducing the clutter in our homes. It is about clearing the mental space that fills our minds with unnecessary noise. It's about returning to a way of life that allows us to focus on what truly matters, on what brings us peace, on what connects us to our essence. It's about finding joy in simplicity, in the quiet moments, and in the small, seemingly insignificant details of life. Simplicity is not a lack of richness or depth. It is a way of rediscovering what is truly important. The more we simplify, the more we make room for the things that nourish us, meaningful relationships, purposeful work, and a deeper connection with ourselves. By focusing on what is essential, we free ourselves from the weight of the excess, the things that distract us, the things that drain us, the things that prevent us from being fully present in our own lives. Simplicity isn't a sacrifice, it's a gift. It is the key to a life of peace and fulfillment, one that is not burdened by the constant need for more. The concept of clearing mental clutter can be thought of as an extension of the simplicity of being. Just as we clear the physical clutter from our homes, we must also clear the mental clutter that prevents us from being truly present. Our minds are like filing cabinets overflowing with information, each thought competing for attention, each worry taking up space. And yet, just as we feel a sense of relief when we tidy up our physical surroundings, we experience the same freedom when we clear our mental space. Clearing mental clutter begins with the simple act of observing. We live in a world where we are constantly multitasking, trying to do more, be more, and achieve more. We often find ourselves lost in a sea of thoughts, racing from one thing to the next, never fully present in any moment. The first step in clearing mental clutter is to recognize how much mental noise we are carrying. And once we recognize it, we can begin to quiet it. One of the most effective ways to clear mental clutter is to simplify our daily routines. Begin with the small, everyday habits. How often do you find yourself overwhelmed by the state of your home? A cluttered living space can lead to a cluttered mind. Start by tidying up, one small section at a time. Organize your workspace, clear your desk, and create a clean, calming environment. The act of decluttering our physical space has a profound effect on our mental space. When we declutter our environment, we begin to feel more organized, more focused, and more at ease. But the act of clearing mental clutter goes beyond the physical. It's about simplifying our thinking. How often do we find ourselves trapped in a spiral of overthinking? We worry about what happened in the past, what might happen in the future, and all the things that could go wrong in between. It's easy to get lost in this cycle, to feel as though we are drowning in our thoughts. But what if, instead of fighting the thoughts, we simply allowed them to pass by? What if we practiced observing them without judgment, letting them come and go like clouds in the sky? By simplifying our thinking, we create space in our minds for the present moment. We stop carrying around unnecessary worries and anxieties, and we start focusing on what is right in front of us. Clearing mental clutter means letting go of the need to control every outcome, to anticipate every possible scenario. It means trusting that we can handle whatever comes our way and allowing ourselves to be fully present in the moment. The joy in simplicity comes from being able to focus on what matters most, to see the beauty in the small things. When we reduce the noise, we begin to notice things we might have overlooked. A simple conversation with a friend, the warmth of the sun on our face, the sound of rain tapping on the window, these are the things that bring us joy. It's in these simple moments that we find meaning, that we feel connected to the world around us. The more we simplify, the more we can appreciate the richness of life, not in the grand gestures or achievements, but in the quiet moments of daily life. Living simply allows us to experience the world with greater clarity. When we are not distracted by external noise, we can truly listen to our inner voice. We can hear the whispers of our hearts, the guidance that is always there, waiting to be noticed. By simplifying our lives, we make space for clarity, for peace, and for joy. One of the most powerful aspects of simplicity is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is about being fully present, paying attention to the here and now. It's about noticing the small things, the feel of the air on your skin, the sound of your breath, the taste of your food. When we practice mindfulness, we cultivate an appreciation for the simple things, And in doing so, we experience the beauty of life in its purest form. Mindfulness is not something we do occasionally, it's a way of living. It's about bringing our full attention to whatever we are doing, no matter how small or mundane. When we wash the dishes, we focus on the sensations of the water, the soap, the movement of our hands. When we walk, we pay attention to the rhythm of our steps, the sound of our feet on the ground, the beauty of our surroundings. In these small moments, we find peace. We find joy. Living simply also means embracing minimalism. Minimalism is not about depriving ourselves, but about focusing on what truly matters. It's about eliminating the distractions and the excess in our lives so that we can concentrate on what is essential. Minimalism is a mindset that encourages us to value quality over quantity, to appreciate what we have, and to let go of what no longer serves us. It's about creating a life that is intentional, where everything we do, everything we own, and every decision we make is aligned with our deepest values. In embracing minimalism, we find that we don't need much to be happy. We don't need to fill our lives with possessions, achievements, or constant stimulation. The more we let go of the unnecessary, the more we make room for the things that truly bring us joy. We learn that happiness doesn't come from acquiring more. It comes from appreciating what we already have and finding contentment in the simplicity of life. The joy of simplicity is in the freedom it brings. When we clear the clutter, both in our minds and in our lives, we create space for what truly matters. We begin to focus on the things that bring us peace, that bring us joy, and that nourish our souls. We stop getting lost in the noise and start living in the moment, fully present to the beauty of life. By embracing simplicity, we allow ourselves to experience life in its purest form, without the distractions, without the excess, and without the pressure to constantly strive for more. In this space, we find peace. We find joy. We find ourselves. Part 10. Returning to stillness, the path to peace. The journey toward peace is not a destination. It is a continual process, an ongoing unfolding. We often think of peace as a final goal, a place we can reach after a long, exhausting pursuit. But in reality, true peace is not an end point. It is a state of being, a way of existing that we can return to again and again, regardless of where we are or what we are facing. It's a process of returning, a constant coming back to stillness, to that deep well of calm that resides within each of us. This path to stillness is not about achieving perfection, nor is it about escaping the chaos of life. It is about learning how to navigate the ebb and flow of life with grace and resilience. It is about finding peace not in the absence of struggle, but in our ability to accept and be present with whatever arises. Peace is not the absence of conflict or stress, but the presence of acceptance and equanimity. It's in the quiet moments between breaths, in the stillness of the mind amidst the noise of the world. Peace is not something we wait for. It is something we cultivate. The true essence of peace lies in our ability to return to stillness, time and time again. It is not something we can force or will into being, but something we invite into our lives with patience and intention. This is the final path to peace. The understanding that stillness is always available to us, that we can always come back to it, even when life seems overwhelming. We may not always be able to control the external circumstances, but we can control our response to them. We can always choose to return to stillness, to be present, to let go of the noise and find rest in the peace that is already within us. This process of returning to stillness is not one that happens once and is done. It is an ongoing practice, one that requires our attention, our commitment, and our patience. Life will continue to bring challenges, stress, and distractions, but our ability to return to stillness remains constant. The more we practice this return, the more we train our minds to naturally come back to a state of peace. It is in this return to stillness that we begin to find the freedom and clarity that allows us to navigate life with a sense of calm and balance. One of the most important aspects of this journey is acceptance. We cannot find peace if we are constantly fighting against life. against ourselves, or against the circumstances that arise. Acceptance is not about resignation. It is about understanding that life is full of change, uncertainty, and imperfection. It is about letting go of our need to control everything and allowing things to unfold as they will. Acceptance is the key to releasing the inner struggle that keeps us from experiencing peace. When we stop fighting against what is, we open ourselves to the flow of life, and in that flow we find our peace. Acceptance is a powerful practice. It doesn't mean that we condone everything that happens, but it means that we acknowledge and allow it. We stop resisting the difficulties, the uncertainties, and the changes. We accept them as part of life's journey. This is where true freedom lies. When we accept the present moment as it is, without judgment or resistance, we can release the tension that binds us. We can let go of our need for things to be different, and in doing so, we open ourselves to the peace that is already present. Patience plays a crucial role in acceptance. Patience allows us to hold space for the present moment, to be with it fully, without rushing to change it. It gives us the ability to sit with discomfort, to allow things to unfold at their own pace, without forcing them. In a world that demands instant results, patience teaches us the art of allowing, of trusting that everything happens in its own time. Patience is not a passive waiting, but an active presence, a willingness to be fully engaged in the moment, even when it feels challenging. With patience, we can accept what is, knowing that change will come in its own time. As we continue on this path to peace, it is important to recognize that this is an ongoing practice. Peace is not something that comes once and stays forever. It is something we must continually return to. It's like a muscle that requires regular exercise. Each moment of mindfulness, each breath of stillness, each act of acceptance strengthens our ability to find peace, to return to stillness, and to live fully in the present moment. The more we practice, the more natural it becomes to experience peace in our daily lives. The journey is not always easy. There will be days when the mind feels restless, when the challenges of life seem overwhelming, when peace feels far out of reach. But even on those days, the practice remains. Even when we feel lost in the noise, we can still choose to return to stillness. We can always come back to the present moment, to our breath, to the peace within. It's important to remember that peace is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up for ourselves each day, choosing to return to stillness, even when we've strayed. It's about having compassion for ourselves when we stumble, and gently bringing ourselves back to the present moment when we've lost our way. This is the path to peace, the willingness to return, over and over again, to the stillness that lies at the heart of our being. As we continue to practice, we begin to see that peace is not a far-off goal. It is a present reality, available to us in every moment. We don't have to wait for everything to be perfect to experience peace. We can find it right now in this moment, just as we are. It's in the act of accepting what is, of being present with what is, that we find the peace we seek. The final words of wisdom I leave you with are these: peace is always within reach. It is not something we have to strive for. It is something we simply have to return to. The path to peace is a practice, a commitment to returning to stillness, to accepting what is, and to living fully in the present moment. With patience, with acceptance, and with a willingness to let go of what we cannot control, we can find the peace that has always been there, waiting for us to embrace it. This is the path to peace. It's a journey that never ends, but it is one that brings us closer to our truest selves. The stillness is not a distant goal. It is the space within us, waiting to be experienced right now. And as we continue on this journey, we are reminded that peace is not a destination. It is a way of being. It is the way we live in the present moment, the way we embrace life as it unfolds, and the way we return to stillness again and again. Final reflection, a journey to inner peace. The path to peace is not a simple, linear road. It is winding, unpredictable, and filled with both beauty and challenge. It requires patience, practice, and the willingness to return to stillness in the face of the noise that constantly surrounds us. Throughout this journey, we have explored the power of silence, the art of patience, the freedom that comes from letting go of fear, and the transformative force of living fully in the present moment. These teachings, rooted deeply in Buddhist principles, offer us not just a way to survive, but a way to thrive, living with inner peace amidst the chaos of the world. At the heart of this exploration is the understanding that peace is not a destination, it is a state of being. It is not something we attain through achieving external goals, nor is it something we acquire after years of struggle or hardship. Peace is a present reality, one that is always available to us, waiting for us to return to it, again and again. The key to peace lies not in the absence of difficulty, but in how we choose to respond to the difficulties we encounter. Throughout the sections we've explored, we have discovered that the first step toward inner peace is embracing stillness. In a world filled with distractions and noise, stillness has become a rare commodity. Yet, it is in stillness that we find the freedom to observe our thoughts, to understand our emotions, and to reconnect with the essence of who we truly are. The simplicity of silence, the act of sitting quietly, breathing deeply, and allowing ourselves to simply be, is one of the most powerful practices we can cultivate. It allows us to release the mental clutter that clouds our minds, creating space for clarity, focus, and peace. But embracing stillness is not always easy. We live in a world that constantly demands our attention. Our minds are often overwhelmed by worries about the past and anxieties about the future. But stillness, as we've learned, is not about avoiding the noise of the world. It is about learning how to be present in it. It is about acknowledging the thoughts and emotions that arise without being controlled by them. It is about finding peace in the midst of chaos, understanding that the external world cannot take away the peace that exists within us unless we allow it to. The practice of mindfulness, being fully present in the moment, has proven to be an invaluable tool on this journey. Mindfulness teaches us to pay attention to our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment. It allows us to observe our experiences from a place of non-attachment, recognizing that we are not our thoughts, nor are we defined by our experiences. In practicing mindfulness, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of overthinking and worrying. We begin to see the beauty in the present moment, in the simplicity of life. Another key lesson we have learned is the art of letting go. The need to control, to manipulate, to plan every detail of our lives can often become a source of stress and anxiety. We become so focused on controlling the outcome of every situation that we forget to enjoy the journey itself. The truth is, there are many things in life that are beyond our control. We cannot control the actions of others, the course of the future, or the events that unfold around us. But we can control how we respond to them. By letting go of our attachment to control, we create space for peace. Letting go is not about resignation, it is about acceptance. It is about acknowledging that we cannot change everything and that is okay. When we let go of the need for control, we stop fighting against the flow of life. We accept that change is inevitable, that life is full of uncertainty, and that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. This acceptance, this surrender, is where true freedom lies. It is the freedom to live in the present moment without fear or worry, to embrace life as it is, with all its imperfections. Patience, too, plays a vital role in our journey to peace. In a world that celebrates instant gratification and quick results, patience can feel like an outdated virtue. Yet, patience is a cornerstone of inner peace. It teaches us that things will unfold in their own time, and that rushing or forcing them will only lead to frustration. Patience is not about passive waiting. It is an active, engaged presence in the moment. It is about allowing life to unfold at its own pace, trusting that everything will come to us when it is meant to. Patience allows us to find peace in the waiting, to find beauty in the process rather than the outcome. Through patience, we learn to accept the natural rhythm of life. We stop pushing against the current and begin to move with it. We trust that, even in the moments of uncertainty or hardship, there is a purpose and a lesson. By embracing patience, we cultivate a deep sense of inner peace that is not dependent on external circumstances, but on our ability to trust the journey. One of the most profound realizations on this journey is that peace is not something we have to wait for. It is something we can access in every moment. Peace is always present, but we often fail to see it because we are too caught up in the rush of life, in the desire for more, or in the fear of what might come next. By returning to stillness, embracing mindfulness, letting go of control, and practicing patience, we open ourselves to the peace that is already within us. Now, as we look at how to apply these teachings to our lives, it's important to understand that this journey toward peace is not something that happens overnight. It is an ongoing practice, one that requires daily commitment and patience. It is not about reaching a destination where we are permanently at peace. It is about learning to live with peace, to return to it, time and time again. Every moment is an opportunity to practice stillness, to practice mindfulness, to practice letting go, and to practice patience. Every challenge, every moment of discomfort is an opportunity to return to peace. In your life, start by bringing these practices into your daily routine. Set aside time each day for stillness, whether it's through meditation, mindfulness, or simply taking a few moments to breathe deeply and center yourself. Practice being present in each moment, noticing the sensations in your body, the thoughts in your mind, and the emotions that arise without judgment. Let go of your attachment to control and trust that everything is unfolding as it should. And when you find yourself impatient or anxious, return to patience, knowing that life is unfolding in its own time and that you are exactly where you need to be. Finally, remember that this journey is not one you take alone. As you practice these teachings, you become part of a larger community, a community of people who are also seeking peace, who are on their own journeys to inner stillness. Share your experiences with others, learn from their experiences, and support one another in your growth. By doing so, you create a ripple effect that spreads peace throughout the world, one person at a time. As we close this journey together, I invite you to reflect on the lessons we've shared. How has this journey resonated with you? How have these teachings impacted your life? I encourage you to share your thoughts and insights in the comments below so that others may benefit from your wisdom and perspective. Let's continue this journey together, supporting one another as we return to stillness and embrace the peace that is already within us. If you found value in this content, please consider subscribing to Buddhism in every moment. Your support helps us continue creating content that inspires, educates, and empowers others on their journey to inner peace. Thank you for being part of this community. Together, we can continue to cultivate peace, mindfulness, and presence in our lives.